5 mistakes that investors make when they're building their first home.
So one of the things that first-time investor get it wrong every time is the construction timing. It is important when you are bidding on, if you're building a new construction, if you're bidding on the lot, it is important for you to have architectural plan, permitting, survey, all of that done before you even close on the property, because that's gonna give you a better estimated time for construction. If you do not, if you're gonna do a renovation, you should know exactly what you're going to do to the house and have the plans and blueprints and everything while you're under contract and before you even buy the house. A lot of people, they want to wing it. They want to buy the house, then decide what to do, and they think this might take me a month or 2 or 6 or 9 or maybe a year. And then they end up having to extend the loan if you're using a loan. But those extensions, those cost you anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 minimum every time you extend a loan. So it is very, very important for you to have that time frame on the dot. Also estimate things, overestimate the timing, thinking or considering things like the weather and the season where you start construction. I love to start construction in the month of September. Prices are lower to buy the houses if I'm flipping or the land. There's a lot of manpower as well. So that gives me more time for negotiation because of the season. It is winter, so a lot of contractors are not working. So that is a huge benefit. However, you have to keep in mind the weather, the snow, the rain, because that is a rainy season, and then winter comes and the holiday comes, and all of that also affects your timing. So depending on the season where you're gonna start constructing, keep in mind all those things that are not accounted for or that might happen that you have not thought about.
And the second mistake that first-time investors make when they're building the homes is not having a contract, sign, detailed contract with the trades. And I'll give you some examples here. There could be the sheetrock guy. They have different ways of doing their things. The common sense, it's not there. So it needs to be specific to the T. Some of the things that, as a first-time investor, you make for sure, and I'm not saying we are perfect because we're not, but some of the things that they do is that they say, okay, we'll do the sheetrock and we're gonna sand it down. That doesn't include materials. I am not gonna do the finishing touches, anything that needs to be repaired after the electrical guy and the plumbing guy finish their work. I'm not gonna do it. And you don't know any of these things. Why? Because it is not detailed in that contract, or you don't have a contract signed. And why is it so important to have that contract signed? If that trade, like the sheetrock guy, doesn't do his job, you can sue him. You can take him to court so they can not pay him, and so many other things that you can do. Another person that can easily go in the wrong way is the plumber. Plumbers, they do the beginning, right? The roughing of the project. But if they don't list that they're going to do the finishing or the second section of the plumbing, like installing the fixtures, making sure that the water is running, that everything is good, the toilets are put together, if that is not listed on the contract, they may just do the first part of plumbing and leave it as is. So that's why I cannot express anymore that you need to have a signed contract with every single detail of what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. So like that, you are prepared. Because if you don't do these things, that may be a headache for you down the line, that may go up in your budget, and you may be, dissatisfied with the work and the person that you are building. And you really want to have that relationship. As an investor, you may want to stick with the same person for the next project, but you need to have that clear conversation. If you don't, things may go wrong.
And talking about increase in budget, that is the third mistake that a lot of investors do. They don't account for or overestimate for the things that could go wrong. For example, what Kenia mentioned before, if you're thinking that they're charging you $10,000, $12,000 for all the plumbing, And then plumber says, well, I'm only charging you for the roughing. And then now you have to spend another $4,000 for the fixtures and the finishing in order for you to find a pass inspection. That is a big, big, big no-no. You have to overestimate. A lot of investors, they overestimate 10% above budget. I like to be conservative and overestimate a 20%, because this will guarantee that no matter what I do, I will be safe. I prefer to have more money in my pocket than then thinking, where am I gonna get the money to finish this construction? So keep that in mind. But before you start, you have to have a detailed budget. What do I mean with this? It is simple. You have your blueprints, you have your design. And when I say design, I am talking about the decoration. You know the wall color. You know if the walls are going to be painted the same color of the roof. Why is this important? Because painters will charge you more if you have different colors in each room, if you have an accent wall, if your walls are a different color from the ceiling. All of these things have an extra cost. Plumbing has an extra cost depending on the amount of fixtures that you're going to add and what you're going to do. If you're gonna have a tub and also have a shower versus just having a tub shower combo. So you need to know all of this before you start. Most importantly, you need to stick with your plans. We are gonna talk more about this, but this is important because this will increase your budget. Any changes that you make will increase your budget. So you need to know before you start exactly what you're gonna do, how you're gonna do it. Get estimate, at least 3 estimates from each different contractor. And then go with a contractor, ask them, for how long is that estimate good? If you need more time, try to make that contract for a longer period of time so that you can secure the pricing. So when you're ready to start the build, you're already sure, like 90% sure of what your budget is going to be. So don't be a fool and take care of that, because the worst thing that can happen is that you start construction and now you're stuck in the middle of construction and you cannot finish because you don't have money. You do not know how many times I have had contractor and investors calling me because their experts are doing one trade. Now they want to become investor. They think that they know, they haven't done their homework, and then they don't have enough money to finish the project.
And another mistake that first-time investors, contractors do when they're building the home is not having a clear design of what exactly they want in their homes. And what I mean with that, I'm talking about colors, floors, lightings, and whatever other things they want, like crown molding, baseboards, everything. And that is definitely a mistake, because when you don't have that down packed, what's gonna happen? A lot of time is gonna get wasted. Your budget is definitely gonna change. It's gonna go up for sure, because if you're looking to do floors and then you decide to, in the room, change from carpet to flooring, that's gonna go up. Then the contractor is gonna charge you more. Another thing is your timing. When you make all these changes because you don't have a clear design of what you want to do, the contractors are just here waiting for you to make up your mind, right? So keep that in mind for sure before you start the build. You know, just go to the store, see exactly what you want, do a board on Pinterest, hire someone that can make the design for you. I don't know, do whatever you need to do to make sure that everything is said and done. And please do not change your mind. When you change your mind, that's when the mistake comes in and it can cost you a lot of money.
And talking about design, increasing your budget, if you think that design can increase your budget, let's not even talk about changing the blueprints. That is like a big no-no that you never want to do. Let me tell you a little bit what happens when you change your blueprints. You have to pay thousands of dollars to the architect to change your blueprints. Then you have to submit it to the city. And this is regardless if you're doing a major renovation or a new construction. You have to wait for the approval of the city because now you're doing a modification or addition or whatever change you're doing. You gotta pay the city. You gotta wait months. So that's also gonna kill your time on top of that. And then to put the cherry on top, you have to pay money to the contractor because now you're adding more work or removing more work. They might need more materials. They might not have a clear picture of what they need or how they're going to do it. So please, please, please avoid changing it. Make sure that once you submit to the city, it's set in stone. You could have a 3D done so that you can see walk it. And this could be inexpensive. They're freelancers, international freelancers that can take your blueprints and do a 3D for $300 to $700. But that is the best paid money ever, because you pay for those blueprints and now you can even walk the house and see if it makes sense. It's very hard to get an idea of how the house is going to look when you're only looking at lines. So keep that in mind when you want to build. I could give you an example of what we did when we first started as investors, right? For example, we had 8 feet ceiling, which is the standard. Then we wanted it to go to 10 feet ceiling. But we were like, no, let's do 9. No, now let's do 10. And that change of 1 foot added thousands of dollars because the sheetrock needed to be higher, painting was more, molding was more, but forget about that. All the beams had to be longer, more expensive, special beams, like the metal beams. Like, you do not have an idea how much money 1 foot of a house cost. So make sure that you keep all of that in mind. And I really hope that all these tips help you. If you want to know more, or if you have any other questions, please put it in the comments below so that we can make another video or be able to answer your questions. But do not forget, subscribe, hit the little bell, and comment.